No one knows who built it, but people still feel it. That silence, that pressure, like something's there, still waiting. This is the other side of normal. Ba-da-ba. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, it's me, David. You made it through the doorway again, which means either curiosity is winning or sleep is losing. Either way, I'm glad you're here. So, as you can probably tell by the title, Stonehenge, two-parter, my first two-parter. And that's simply because there's so much information regarding it, so much speculation, theories, all that I thought I can't get this into one episode. Not a 20-minute one, anyway. I like to keep them at 20 minutes. People don't get bored. And to be honest with you, after 20 minutes, I'm boring myself. So, God knows how you lot feel. Anyway, tonight, we're heading to one of the most famous and still not fully explained ancient sites on Earth. A monument older than most written history, a structure built without modern machines, unless there was UFOs. Oh. A place studied for centuries and still arguing back. Tonight, we're talking about Stonehenge. Yay! And no, it probably wasn't built by aliens, giants, time-travelling contractors with a grudge against straight lines. Probably. Let's step in, ya. Picture this. The English countryside. Open land, rolling grass, wind that never quite minds its own business. Probably a pub on the corner selling warm lager. You know, England. In the middle of it stands a circle of massive standing stones. Some are up, some are fallen, some balanced across the top like prehistoric lintels. It looks deliberate. They're heavy and they are there to stay. And that's the first mystery. Permanence. Because this structure is about 5,000 years old. In its earliest phase. It was built in phases over so many hundreds or thousands of years. Parts of it were rearranged and expanded over roughly 1,500 years ago. That means generations worked on it. People were born, lived and died during its construction timeline. Imagine starting a building project your great-great-great-great-grandchildren are expected to finish. Try getting that approved by modern planning permission. Council will have a field day. Right, let's talk scale. Some of the larger stones weigh around 25 tons. The smaller, what they call blue stones, still weigh multiple tons each. They weren't conveniently lying next door, waiting to be stacked like hard bricks. Like the bricks I nicked off my neighbour when he was in work. He haven't forgiven me for that. I bought him a crate of Fosters, but it just wasn't enough. Wants his bricks back, like. The bigger stones came from quarries miles away. I'm talking miles. The blue stones, in particular, came from mountains in Wales, over 150 miles away. Which is why people think it's UFOs. UFOs, innit? Like I said in my last episode. Can you explain that? Nah, UFOs. Now this raises a simple question. How did people, without cranes, trucks, steel cables, or energy drinks, move multi-ton rocks across that distance? It's hard enough to get from where I live to London in a car. Now, these are the main theories. Rolling them on logs, dragging them on sledges, floating them along rivers, or a combination of all three. Is that the best the scientists can come up with? UFOs. Now, doing all that work sounds exhausting and probably doesn't help your lower back at all. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. The layout isn't random either. The stones align with the sunrise on the summer solstice and the sunset on the winter solstice. On those days, the sun lines up with the keystones in the circle. Mad, right? Unbelievable, this. That means whoever designed it understood solar movement across the year. Precisely. This wasn't guesswork, this was observation across generations. Ancient people didn't have apps, so they built one out of rocks. Construction happened in phases, as I said. Phase 1, a circular earthwork ditch and bank, no giant stones yet. Phase 2, timber structures and early stone placements. And Phase 3, the massive stone circle that we can see today. It's a great place to go, but I hate having to drive past there. All the fucking people rubbernecking. The traffic by Stonehenge is known in this area for being an absolute cowing nightmare. If you want to look at it, go and park up and have a look at it. Stop looking at it from your car, holding me up. I need to get to London. This evolution tells us something important. The purpose may have changed over time. It wasn't a single project with a single use. It just had got adapted. So what was it for? Here are the main theories. None fully proven. Just a couple of scientist guys going, well, I think this. Good on you. Good on you. Astronomical calendar. Tracking seasons and solstices. Ceremonial site. Ritual gatherings and seasonal events. Or burial ground. Cremated human remains have been found there. Plausible. Healing centre. Some evidence suggests people travelled long distances seeking cures for things. Political or social meeting place. A symbol of unity across tribes, I suppose. It's a nice way to think about it. In short, it may not have been one thing. It may have been all of them. We just don't know. Humans really build something massive for only one thing. Let's address the elephant in the field. UFOs. I touched upon it. Did aliens build it? You ready for this? No evidence supports that. Are you surprised? And here's the practical logic. If a civilization can cross interstellar space, they're not stopping to stack rocks in Wiltshire and then leaving no other trace. That's like inventing warp drive and opening a garden shed. Ancient humans were smarter and more capable than people often give them credit for. That's a fact. Engineering without electricity is still engineering. So let's talk precision. The stones are shaped to interlock with carved joints, so the horizontal stones sit securely on top of the vertical ones. That's carpentry logic, but it's applied to stone. This means advanced planning, shaping, and measurement tools actually existed then. How could they not? Blows my mind. Even if primitive by modern standards. You know what I mean? There wasn't like let's guess and hope stacking thing. Chisel a bit. Let's, a bit. Does it fit? No. All right. Bring that 5-ton stone back down, then we'll chisel a little bit more. I doubt they did that, like. Transport theories tested in modern experiments. Teams use replica tools successfully moved multi-ton stones using sledges, ropes, rollers, and coordinated pulling. It worked, it was slow, it was measurable, but it worked. But I can guarantee you, they didn't conduct their friendly little experiment from the mountains of Wales all the way down to Stonehenge where it stands now. Probably just in a car park. Now this confirms something important. Possible does not mean easy. But easy is not required for history. Now, for the human element. Remains found at the site show people travelled from distant regions to be buried or honoured there. That means the site held importance beyond the local area. It was known, it mattered, and it drew people in, just like it does today. Like a prehistoric convention centre, but with worse parking and probably no amount of coffee. There's also acoustic research suggesting the stone arrangement reflects sounds in unusual ways, possibly enhancing chanting or ritual noise, which means ceremonies there may have sounded larger than life, or at least louder than the neighbours appreciated. Let's move on to folklore. Over centuries, stories claimed giants built it, wizards moved the stones, magic transported them, supernatural forces placed them. Because when people forget how something was built, they replace knowledge with myth. That's not stupidity. That's just basic storytelling. Mystery hates empty space. Alright? Humans fill it. Here's what we actually know with confidence. It was built in stages by organised groups with planning and measurement using available technology for purposes tied to ceremony, astronomy, and burial. What we don't know, exactly who led it, exactly what every phase meant, exactly how rituals were performed, exactly why that specific location was chosen. And that remaining uncertainty is why the mystery still lives today. If modern society had to build Stonehenge today, we would need 3 committees, 2 lawsuits, an environmental impact review, 5 cancelled budgets, and at least 1 argument about parking access. Ancient builders just got on with it. Why does this place still grip people? Because it proves something uncomfortable and inspiring. Ancient humans were not primitive thinkers. They were observers, they were planners, they were engineers, and symbol makers. They built meaning into the landscape. They built time into stone. And they did it without instruction manuals or tutorial videos titled Lift Megaliths Fast. No tools, must watch. Stonehenge is not mysterious because nothing is known. It's mysterious because enough is known to prove intelligence, but not enough to explain intention. And intention is where the real story lives. Not just how it was built, but why. Right, so far, we've looked at what Stonehenge is, how it was built, and what it might have been used for. But none of that explains something people still report today. What it actually feels like to stand inside it. So, let's slow this down a second. Because everything we've talked about so far lives in the daylight version of Stonehenge, the measured version. the explainable version. But places like this don't really live in daylight. They change when you're there, properly there. If you stand inside that circle, not with tourists, not with cameras, but as close to alone as you can get, something changes. It's hard to explain without sounding dramatic, but the space feels different. The wind doesn't move the same way, sound doesn't travel the same way. Even your own footsteps feel sort of heavier. And it's not fear, exactly. It's more like awareness. Sorry, I got hiccups. Like your brain is trying to process something it can't quite label. Archaeologist Mike Parker Pearson, who spent absolute decades studying the site, put it really bluntly. Stonehenge was a place of the dead. Okay? Thanks, Mike. Now, that could be psychology, expectation, where your brain fills in the gaps. But here's the problem with that explanation. People who don't know the history report the same feeling. That same weight, that same sense of being observed, not watched in a horror film type of way, just noticed. Excavations at the site have uncovered cremated human remains dating back over 4,000 years ago. Dozens of individuals brought there deliberately. And that's where things start to get uncomfortable. And I suppose humans kind of like to be uncomfortable. Because Stonehenge wasn't built to be looked at. It was built to be stood inside of. That's a complete different intention. Think about modern structures like your stadiums, your churches, your theatres. They're designed to control experience. Where you stand, where you look, what you hear and what you feel. Stonehenge does exactly the same thing, but it does it without walls and without a roof. And yet, when you're inside it, it feels like a space, a controlled space. And that raises a completely different question. Not how did they build it, but what experience were they trying to sort of create? Because moving 25-ton stones 150 miles isn't just effort, that's intention. You don't do that casually. You don't do that just in case. Now, research supported by University College London indicates the bluestones were deliberately transported from Wales over 150 miles by human effort, not natural forces. You do that because something matters enough to reshape the land itself. Now layer that with the alignment, the sun rising exactly where it should, the light cutting through the stones at precise points in the year. That's not just practical, that's theatrical. That's someone designing a moment. Imagine standing there thousands of years ago. No light pollution, no distant noise, just darkness and silence. A couple of fires going on. And then the sun rises. And it hits a single point in that structure, exactly where it's meant to. That is impact. That's a moment designed to make people feel something. Awe, fear, belief. Belief is powerful. Powerful enough to make people travel long, long, long distances. Powerful enough to bring their dead. Powerful enough to keep building, generation after generation. It has been noted by English Heritage, Stonehenge, and I quote, Stonehenge was built and used over many centuries and its exact purpose remains unknown. End quote. And that uncertainty is where things shift. Because when a place holds that much importance for that long, it builds layers. Ritual, repetition, emotion, death. Again and again and again. Until eventually the place itself becomes part of the experience. Not just the setting, but the participant. Now, acoustic studies have suggested the stones reflect and amplify sound, meaning anything spoken, chanted, or performed inside that circle would have carried differently. So whatever happened there was never quiet. And that's where the mystery changes again. Because we stop asking, how did they build it? And we start asking, what did it do to the people inside it? Did it comfort them? Did it unite them? Did it intimidate them? Did it change them? Because architecture shapes behaviour. Even today, cathedrals make you quiet. Courtrooms make you serious. Stonehenge feels like it was built to make you aware of time, of scale, of something bigger than yourself. And maybe that was the point. Not to explain the world, but to remind people that you don't control it. And even now, after centuries of research, after excavation, studies and analysis, we still don't have a single agreed answer. And maybe that's the most unsettling part of all, because it means whatever this place was built to do, it hasn't finished doing it. Well, there we have it. Part 1 of Stonehenge. I was really getting into that. I love that. I can't wait for episode 2. Speaking of which, if you want to listen to episode 2, listen to episode 1 first. I just want to thank you all, everyone, from the bottom of my heart, for all your support, your messages, your comments, your likes, your views. It really means a lot to me. If you want to reach out, chuck us an email. We're on all social media, TikTok, X, Reddit, all of it, and all the main ones. Send your theories, your questions, or the strangest story you've ever heard. I love it. But until next time, keep questioning the obvious. Respect old stones. Those stones deserve respect. And remember, just because something is ancient doesn't mean it was simple. Good night, guys.